start by introducing yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself. You've decided to run for school board.
My name is Roy Morales. I'm a father. I have 4 kids, and I'm been in the finance banking industry for the last 25 years. And I've had background in uh, volunteerism with the Civil Air Patrol. That's an auxiliary of the United States Air Force. Some feedback. And I think that's a start.
I've seen more of an effort to keep parents away from school board meetings, calling them domestic terrorists. They're a nuisance to the school board members. So your approach of being more welcoming is totally different, something I've never seen before. How do you compare with your other candidates that are running against you as far as allowing the full community to be involved and parents to be involved?
I can't tell you where they stand on that. I can only suspect that Anna and I are running on the same slate. Anna Van Hoek and I are very much in tune with one another. Anna's a very concerned parent. We both agree that we need to bring the parents back into discussion about curriculum and policies and expenditures. The other two, I can't speak for them, but they seem to be speaking on talking points of the other side. And again, I think that they're going to be pretty much the same as the current board is, and they're not really listening.
How can community members support you and Anna as far as running for school board? What types of things are helpful?
It's getting the word out, telling them that we're here to be their voice. We're not going to be here to advocate for the teachers union. We're not going to be there to advocate for the Arizona National School Board or the National School Board, which actually deem parents as domestic terrorists. I mean, I'm a parent, she's a parent. Do we look threatening to you? We aren't. So we really want to get this word out that we're there for them. We're there to work for the community. It's not the other way around. I think school boards have forgotten their role as school board members. They're supposed to be serving leaders to the community. So,
Who do you see as the primary customer of the school? The decision maker.
right, taxpayers and the parents. I mean, the kids are by natural part of the parents, so you can include them too. But it's really the taxpayers and the parent and the parents are the customers, and that's who we.
And what's the ideal public school product, if you had to sum it up, that could be offered to that customer, the parent?
We need to look at what are the charter schools doing has that better product. What are the private schools doing that's delivering a better product? We need to take a look at our product and to see what we can make a better product to sell to the community. We're not doing that. We're basically in our little own bubble and thinking that we're one size fits all is the solution for everybody. We actually need to come up with a better product and get it out to and be competitive. Well, yes, I think that they have paid dues with the Arizona School Board Association, and I know that they've sent their school board representatives to one of their recent seminars in terms of political topics, which to me makes it as a conflict of interest. Again, why would a school board member be going to an association that has lately been shown that is not advocating for parents and teachers? I mean, I have a large issue with that. At this point in time, in the climate that we're in, we need to be removed from that influence.
So you would support removing our tax funds from these organizations that have shown to be against parents?
Yeah, I think it's a conflict of interest at this one.
What do you feel about school choice? How does that impact a public school? And what does it do to the learning environment for all students in Arizona?
Well, school choice, I'm 100% behind the school choice. If you think about it, an average, I think the Arizona public schools get about $13,000, $14,000 per student. And what the misunderstanding is that all of that's going to go away if the student goes to a non-public school. What they don't understand is it's only a sliver of that funding that goes with the child. Public schools still get that money. So, for example, for every student that leaves public school to go to a private school, whatnot, public school will still get that funding plus an additional $900. You can check it out with the Goldwater Institute. They have a great language-based outlining how ESA works. As a result of ESA, that's going to create healthy competition between schools. And if public schools want to get that missing money that they're missing out of, they would actually look at their program and say, how can we deliver a better product, right? And what it would do, it actually would elevate the academic rigor of our schools all through the United Arizona, making it a better place to live. So I think it's a win-win situation for everyone.
How do you see teachers and unions? As far as unions are concerned, the teachers and the unions have kind of been together in a way against parent rights. How do you see bringing teachers into the fold to make them part of the conversation in making this a better environment for students?
I think there are teachers that are in a union that aren't always in agreement with the union. I think a lot of teachers feel that they had to be part of the union. I think we need to remove the union out of the conversation and just talk to the teachers directly and find out what's going on with them, and get their feedback and get their expertise and to see what we can make their culture better. Because right now, I believe between the unions and the administrative district, I think teachers are in a toxic environment and they're competing with that and trying to teach their curriculum, and they're overwhelmed and they're leaving the profession in droves. We need to bring the power back to the teacher because they're the subject matter expert. We need to allow them to make their own lesson plans, only to be approved by the principal and not be dictated by the United States Department of Education. And that's another toxic environment up there as well. So we need to bring teachers back in there to give them their own voice, maybe perhaps start a new grassroots organization among themselves. Because right now, unions, although they were good in the past, especially during the dawn of the industrial age, I don't think they're so good right now.
When it comes to critical race theory and social emotional learning, what do you see as problems in these areas?
Social emotional learning was developed as far back as Socrates. Problem is that the recent hijacking of that program that I think was one meant for kids with special needs, they've taken that program and they've actually permeated it through all of our schools, through curriculum, through the materials and online learning, teaching the kids how to react to life on an emotional level versus using their intellect. And so when you have people reacting to life on an emotional level, you're going to have a storm coming through. In other words, you could help kids with social and behavioral issues, but if you take the element of teaching what's right and wrong out of the equation, then you have a big problem. See, the two need to come hand in hand. But the social emotional learning, that comes from the parents, that comes from the religious institutions, as well as the right and wrong, and teaching what's acceptable, what's not acceptable in in our society. But that shouldn't be the school's job. That should be the parents and the religious organization's job to do that. And then the kids take that to school, and they should all pretty much be we're pretty much uniform when it comes to Judeo and Christian beliefs. And that's where that needs to go, not in the schools.
So is that something you see in the Parent Bill of Rights, where there's supposed to be that separation, where parents are supposed to be in charge of morality?
Yeah, and that's the other issue is that they're bringing in social emotional learning. To me, as a backdoor to replace the parent with the state. And I understand without trying to become a conspiracy theorist, but there is some nefarious intentions of bringing in social emotional learning, brainwash our kids to trust the institution and not their parents.
How can we get more parents involved in our schools? Because I feel like their presence, whether they're volunteering, and a lot of that got shut down during COVID. The only reason parents woke up is because they saw the curriculum online.
Right. Well, remember, the tone has to be set from the top, from the school board to the administration, to the staff, and to the teacher, that parents are welcome. And any feedback is welcome. In other words, we can't cancel a parent because they have some critical, different viewpoint than the administration. We should welcome that. Just like Steve Jobs did, he always hired people that he didn't like because they came with opposing views, which made him a better person and made a better product. So we've got to think in terms of that.
Good point.
What's interesting is that certain teachers and the teachers union, they are the loud minority. And with the help of the media, they make it themselves larger than they really are. We really need to bring the conservative teachers out to the open and tell them it's okay to talk. It's okay to, point out the things that you're seeing in your school and bring it to your administration, and so they can handle with the rogue teachers, if you will, accordingly, and to make sure that they are disciplined or, if not fired, from their positions. Again, those teachers don't have their students in their best interest, and they're trying to replace. They're still their kids back. Let me rephrase it. They totally disregard the parents' divine right over their child by teaching them something that's opposite of their values. That we support, yes, saying it because it creates competition,
He did.
and it creates competition. It drives down cost. It boosts efficiency. You look at the real world. That's how businesses survive. You got to understand your cost. You got to understand your customer, so that you can build the product they want. I mean, as far as when you were talking about social emotional learning, our job as a school board is to educate people that, social emotional learning that's the umbrella which covers continuing sex education and also is the umbrella to critical race theory. Although they may deny that these things are being taught on a systematic scale, we know that there are specific teachers that are trying to push that agenda among the students. And it's all under the umbrella of social emotional learning, where we're trying to brainwash our kids into accepting norms that once was not normal, 2 decades ago, a decade ago, into something that's acceptable. And yes, we're talking about same-sex marriage, we're talking about same-sex activities that, even in heterosexual conversations, shouldn't even be coming up at the level of the classroom. Again, that's something that's done at home. So social emotional learning, critical race theory, and diversity, equity, inclusion, that's another pitfall we run into where, again, they're trying to take something that's abnormal and they're trying to normalize something in their society. And that has no place in the classroom. Again, that should remain at home. We just need to teach science, technology, and internet now.
I know a counter argument that there have been a lot of suicides. They feel that social emotional component needs to be there because we've had that, but that's sort of a result of the COVID lockdowns. I mean,
but not only that, yeah, the COVID lockdown was probably the catalyst that is started, that permeated that isolated our kids. But the social emotional learning is teaching our kids to think about me, and how pity me and my problem. Instead, as educators and as parents, we should be teaching our kids, what can you serve? Who can you take care of? Don't think about yourself, think about your community. And when you change the programming in a kid's head to serve others, they themselves will become fulfilled. They themselves will find a purpose in life. They themselves will become stronger through the art of giving rather than taking. Social emotional learning, it's all about taking what I want instead of giving to what benefits the community.
how does giving and volunteering create a better emotional state for children?
In my days in the Civil Air Patrol, we had cadets from 12 to 20 years old. I can see a dramatic change in the cadets' mindset when they start from their first days of boot camp when they become officers. Again, they learn about leadership. They learn about putting others before self. They also learn about, would they do something themselves, by virtue of, would they tell a younger cadet to do something they wouldn't do themselves? It's talking about self-discipline. It's talking about character building. It's talking about inner strength. That's the thing that really brings our kids to becoming productive, caring human beings and be able to withstand adversity. It's quite the opposite of social emotional learning, where kids need a safe space to run to and they have to huddle from life's hurdles and run away from their problems. And that's what social emotional learning is doing. It's teaching kids how to run away from their problem or to pretend the problem doesn't exist, or they pretend that they're a girl when they're in fact a boy, or vice versa. It's counterintuitive. It's counteractive to what is intended us by God, and that is to think intellectually.
There's been a culture kind of developing of every child gets a trophy. Every child gets to be on the same level. How, and that's opposed to the let's pursue excellence. Why do you think that is or is not a good strategy for children for their future?
The everyone gets a trophy mentality is where we come with equal outcome. You know, the United States and the Constitution guarantees everybody equal opportunities, but we're always never going to have equal outcome. And it should be that way because everyone is different. Some of us are tall, some of us short, some of us wide, some of us thin. You know, I was born with hearing loss, and I had to learn through life how to go through adversity to overcome my hearing loss by seeking within myself and say, hey, you need to step up and you need to learn how to play with the big boys. And that's how I built myself up. I didn't sit there and stay at home and cry all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I think adversity with an opportunity, equal opportunity, will give everybody an opportunity to look at themselves to overcome their unequalness or unequity, if you will. You know, and I think that would really build character. By giving everybody the same thing, it doesn't create any incentive for that individual to be better or to become better. It actually does the worst. It makes society lazy. And when society becomes lazy, then, you know, we're going to, we're not going to innovate new things. You know, young boys are not getting up and stepping up to get married. The kids aren't, couples aren't having kids because there's no strive for excellence. There's no strive for becoming better. There's no strive to be self-sufficient. Not making any sense on that. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So if we think about striving for excellence in our educational system, the reward for children is what? In the long run, in the real life.
If we push our kids for academic excellence, it teaches kids how to be, well, first they have to have discipline. They learn about what their weaknesses are, and they learn what strengths do they have to overcome those weaknesses, and it therefore teaches them how to deal with adversity later in life. Without academic excellence and pushing them to strive for it, then what are they going to carry into their careers, into their relationships later in life? If we push them now, things will get easier as they face adversity later on in life.
Thanks for being a domestic terrorist. We appreciate
it. Quite welcome. I think that's a badge of honor now, right?
No, I freaking care. My husband, he was scared that I was going to school board. I really haven't been going to school board meetings because even they really make you feel unwelcome and they never change anything. That's why they never make any changes based on what the parents say. Or even if you complain that they've done something unlawful, there's no punishment for the teacher that did the unlawful act. So I'm very excited that parents can start feeding Shirley Sapir this information that the AG can pursue because the school boards are just waving back and forth and don't even want the parents at the meetings.
And the interesting thing is I think the National Association of School Boards and the Arizona School Board have been training the school boards on what they want them to do. And then the school boards have just lost it. They don't think they have teeth, and they actually do.
Well, they take an oath to serve the parents and the taxpayers.
I'm only seeking one term. I'm only hoping if I get on the board that I can persuade someone, influence, especially a dad, to run for school, or a mom to run for school board, and to be on the school board as a parent, instead of